And I got the right setup. Pick the right cameras. All right. Thanks for joining us. And we have a Wookiee on the show. There's not too many podcasts that yeah, see, that's right. That's special guests coming at you for the 41st. We did over
Oh, you're so
41 of
hand there.
these.
It was just so hand-like.
A drunken Wookiee. Well, he's not drunken, but he'll get there. There's potential.
Yeah, there's potential.
There's potential.
I have supplies. I've
Dun,
done the
dun,
Kessel
dun.
run and came back with some bugs.
Have you have you tried any American snacks lately?
No, I haven't really. When I've been wandering in various supermarkets, I haven't made a beeline for the American snack areas.
Yeah.
I've literally just gone in there and got out again.
I can't blame you. I just want to, Clayton, I do see you. Just say hi for now so I hear you.
Hey, this is a test of my
All
sound.
right. We got it. We'll bring you. We have, so I want to start doing, we obviously we did a Saturday show and I had a lot of fun with a couple people. And that's kind of how all this started is I was having random people kind of on. So in a bit here, I'm going to bring on Clayton. He's been like he was my first patron supporter. So he's got to be on it. So I'm all excited for that. So we'll have him on just to kind of show some models, talk about whatever he wants to talk about, and then whatever, be with the show. So that's kind of the only real plan. I wasn't working on too much. I was going to finish up. Uh, I was working on this one for Zealot Miniatures, and then I think I wanted to go over some of the tweet. Like I tweeted one out about what do people want out of the hobby, and I don't know, something about reading them and just hearing someone made a point once. They're like, "Hey, if you like in communication, they're like, and I sort of got to implement this for myself. I was like, if you want something, like you just got to tell people in like a nice, clear, concise thing." And I was like, a lot of people aren't very like vocal about what they want. I know I wasn't, and I was like, hey, what do I actually want out of something? So that's kind of what spawned that tweet, and so it was interesting reading up on stuff. Let me bring Clayton in with the Wookiee. We're gonna do this. Clayton's Clayton's gonna be in a cage match up and down with the Wookiee. Hang on, let's see. This one goes 1, 2, 3. There he is. Dun dun
Well, this
dun.
this is perfect. I just need to put my Titans behind me, and then Lee can put some Titans
Oh, that
behind
is
him, and
right.
then we can just have.
Yeah,
This is
we.
actually the Titan chat.
Yeah, it really is. Gosh, it is. You got a lot. I didn't see that well. Like we've chatted kind of like in Discord or whatever cameras, but it was never like a little setup like you got here. And now I have to really send you a poster and it has to go on that
Yeah,
wall
we.
because that's like, yeah, I need that. So that's where we're gonna do that last paint over. So okay, people don't know this is Clayton. He's I don't know. He's a really cool dude in my book. So works paints endless amount of miniatures. What's your Twitter?
It's pretzel paint because pretzel paint studios wouldn't fit, and bad posture painting is not good for branding.
But it's understandable because we all suffer from really bad posture. From when
Oh yeah, like I went by that name for years because I set up an Instagram and I was like, well, I need a catchy painting name, and I was just painting as one does, and then I sat up straight and like every vertebrae popped, and I was like, okay, let's get some alliteration here.
Oh, wait, I gotta bring up the chat. I didn't even notice this yet.
yeah,
King Crimson, always appreciate you coming in. Echo, thank you very much for stopping by.
Let's see.
I am
Yeah,
absolutely.
and King Crimson, you do need to hop on in. I'm always asking you, so you're another one who's obviously invited. So one time we're gonna get you on here, King Crimson. I always like Crimson's energy. Crimson, he's one of those people that I think, especially in the little Discord going on, especially with drawing and stuff, he prompts me to do a lot of stuff. So I always appreciate that. Okay, Clayton, what have you been working on lately?
I've been working on like 25 pink horrors, but also what's his name? Engron. I printed out a model of Engron,
Yep.
and it it's been an interesting thing, and by that I mean I got the files and they were pre-supported, which is great.
Yep.
And then I went to go buy other files from the same guy, and none of them were. And I'm like, okay, now I have to put work into this for Fulgrim.
How, if you had to estimate a model like that
Oh,
on a resin printer, what do you think it costs to print roughly? Yeah, so that one right there. What do you,
so if I so because I'm going to tell you like a buck or two.
yep,
But that doesn't involve the cost of the printer, the cost
yep,
of
and when it
the
breaks down,
isopropyl
okay, yep.
time, cleaning it up, gloves, paper,
Hmm.
not paper towels because they're too weak, shop cloth. Um, yeah.
Yeah, all the
Um,
things that come with it. Like, because I'm mostly
mhm.
thinking of like resin wise, so I was just kind of
Oh, resin
curious.
wise, like a buck or two. like
Okay.
like I'm gonna actually go pull it up and do the math.
Oh yeah, you don't have to go that far. But no, it's just I just wanted to get an
Let me
idea. I'm
just
like,
open
okay,
in a
so that's
file.
still obviously super, super reasonable.
It's nothing.
Yeah, for what you can kind of print on those. And then, okay, you have a bunch of Titans as well. You got full size Titans like Lee does too. What do you have
Yes.
for full sizers?
So I've got
Full size.
so
What do you mean 28 millimeter? Like I'm sitting
my
on a
my
full size Titan in the backyard.
my warlord is still in the garage. I need to repair him, but this is my that was actually a really smooth slide. This is my uh Cerastus Acastus. Its name is hard. But I put a big ol'
Wait, why didn't I
I put
did I see that? I don't think I've seen this one.
maybe I painted this before I moved the first time, so well over a year and a half ago. Um, it
Huh.
is. I did some measuring, and yeah, it turns out you can just slap the top half of an Exorcist on this thing, and it almost fits. So you then green stuff a little bit, and then it fits really well.
Yeah. Huh.
That's the Knight Asterius, the
That's it.
Porphyrion secondary class, the Mechanicum version.
I know.
I I still need to paint my Porpy.
That's what we gotta start. There's a couple things I want to do. Like we have to start getting some questions. By me, I mean me. Questions for like, okay, do people have any questions? I'm like, all right, we got some people who really know like Titanicus and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, well, I bet you we could help some people out. Oh, wait, what is that? What is that one? Oh, that's your Warhound?
This is
No,
my
not Warhound.
Reaver.
Reaver, that's right.
Its leg is now wiggly that I've noticed. So that's something that's going to get glued. Uh,
Oh, that's the
he's
one
got a
you put
big
the
old drill.
drill on from Necromunda,
Yeah,
or is that? Yeah.
I love the drill. I also have an extremely soft spot for Reavers with two weapons because it's just hilarious. That's some of that Titanicus strats for you. A Reaver with two weapons is overkill, but it's awesome.
Edward,
Uh,
thanks for making it. Thanks for joining us.
the best
Very
part about
good.
it is you put a laser cannon on its back, so when it dies, it has a chance to explode better.
Yeah, that's one of those things in those type of games when stuff blows up and takes other things with it, I can always
I
appreciate
love it.
that.
It's so good.
You take the highest strength weapon, so that's why you stick the laser on there.
Hmm.
Maximize
Oh,
the
is that
job.
how it works, Lee, in the AT? So
Yeah.
that you take okay, when it blows up, you take your highest strength weapon hit kind of
Well,
deal?
I try not to blow up, but it
Yeah.
does happen.
I think my best was when I had a I think it was a Quake cannon. And the template definitely did not hit the target, but it hit my Titan and another Titan, and it killed the other Titan. And then my Titan also died, but it turned and fell into another Titan, and I was like, ah, yes, this is how things are supposed to be.
That's how the
Um,
game is supposed to be played.
Yeah,
the,
that's why I enjoy Quake cannons.
oh yeah, this is my dumb Titan. A buddy of mine found this in his dad's storage unit, and he sold
Dumb.
it to me because he knew I like Titans, and he knew I'd do something nice with it.
Oh, and his dad is still looking for it till this day?
Oh no! His dad said he could because yeah,
The old armor cast.
the old armor cast, silly,
Oh,
dumb,
that's the
ugly old
okay.
Reaper.
I had the armor cast Warhound. I think it
I
was
hate that thing.
Armorcast. Take it
I
back.
hate that dumb
It's not
dog.
as cool as the new one at all, but yeah.
I really don't like how its arms are sideways on it. Like, that's probably my biggest problem. The dog face is okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was thinking of trying to
Lee,
convince
did you
someone to
have
get me
any
to paint them with
Armorcast
Warlord.
models?
No,
No,
no, there
okay.
was I when they were sort of more available. It was probably my time when I was away from the hobby,
Gotcha.
and I didn't get my first. I think my first super heavy vehicle was a Curium Patterns Shadow Sword, which is
Oh,
the
Shadow Swords were
fighting
cool.
killing tank.
Yeah, I remember those.
So they Shadow Sword was always my favourite super heavy from Epic
Yep.
days. And when they brought out the Arcurian pattern from Forge World, I thought, oh, I'll have some of that. And yeah, it was a really good model. I've actually recently traded it with a friend of mine for lots more because he's a tank head. He's got like I think he has got a legitimate full tank company.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
I'm not
Jesus.
not the GW box set tank company with 10
No,
light
just a
horses.
regular tank
He's
company.
got obviously all the different squadrons with command tanks and support and everything. And the Arcurian pattern Shadow Sword is out of production. So we done a little bit of a trade because I knew that I'm not using it. It's just sitting there, and he loves tanks, and I got
Yeah.
fighting
Yep.
weapons in exchange. So I was
Okay.
happy to trade. He actually sent me a picture over recently of the little bit of a. He's only done a little bit of a touch up on the paint because I had
Yeah.
my mostly in a charcoal grey, but the turret was in Emperor's Children purple, and he's just repainted the turret part. So everything is
Oh.
it's 90% still my paint job. So.
Yeah, yeah.
The last thing I'm going to display because my Laniuscara Reavers are too far away and too tiny. Um, I you speaking of super heavies reminded me of the Mastodon I was working on and how it would not go square. And I reheated the resin. I tried to make it
Oh, so you
square.
even reheated your resin and everything?
Oh, yeah, you gotta. At one point in time, the thing, like the front door broke off on one of the hinges. So then I went to go try to fix that and make things more square, and then the other hinge broke off, and then the back door broke off. So I threw the Mastodon at the wall, and it shattered into a billion pieces. It,
The
and
wall, the Mastodon didn't.
I I'm glad the wall didn't. I got my security deposit somehow. um, so what we are it's a long-term plan, but we're eventually making this into a full table.
Oh, wow.
I
Did you
I
post any pictures of that on Twitter yet or anything?
I think a while ago,
I don't remember
Charity
seeing
did
that one.
insane work
Okay.
on the rocks.
Yeah, and
It's
oh, I don't have your picture. She did the base on your Lord of Change, correct?
and Bellacore. She does
Oh,
all
okay.
the losses.
Okay, that yeah, that was really some great stuff.
It's
Oh, that
great because
was
we're
this one. Wait,
batch
I
painting
have it
them.
here. Yeah, I don't think I have the original.
I've got it somewhere.
Oh, right here. There, you can see. Oh, I love the paint job on this thing.
Yeah, I'm really sad because every banger I've knocked out is living at this one guy's house. Like this Angron is going to him, and I'm really excited. But like, it was easy enough to paint. I might as well just print out another one and paint it.
Okay, how many miniatures do you think you painted this year?
I don't. This year a lot less than last year. I'll give it that. How do Epic Scale and War Master minis count? Because they're like 5 to a stand. So I don't know.
Okay.
That changes things. Um. Uh. I would say probably less than last year, but still a stupid amount. Dana Howell was doing that golf thing and where you like track how many things you've painted, and
Hmm.
I was in the 400 something.
Oh, okay, so yeah,
Uh,
you're over that by now. So that's
yeah, like
hundreds of things.
I don't want to say that I've painted 1,000 miniatures in a year because I don't want to count that high, uh,
Yeah.
or even use a calculator to do that. Uh, Also, that just sounds like an insane amount. And also, how do you count terrain? Like, I got tired of
Yeah.
counting when I was trying to do it for last year. It was.
Lee, you don't do much terrain, do you?
No.
What, any
I avoided
reason?
that play. I'll be honest with you, basing was never my strong point with all my models up until Adeptus Titanicus.
I was about to say, yeah, your Titanicus bases are baller.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay, so that's interesting because I was like, wait, I don't think Lee, I just don't remember, not that you don't do it, but I just don't see it pop up much in your thread, so that's interesting.
no, well, the like buildings, for example, you just build them however you want. So I built all them early days when I first got into sort of AT.
Yeah,
And I have actually been thinking about maybe putting them onto some sort of plastic card or something, and then adding
yeah,
some texture around them. Because when you see it just on a table, just the building, it just feels a little bit.
yeah,
Like, even
anemic.
though you've painted the building, it just feels a little bit naked. So
Yeah,
we might do some little sort of like contour shapes, stick the buildings on, then go around with some like sand, rocks, and stuff, and paint and dry brush. But yeah, before then it was either texture paint, like GW do, with a wash and then a dry brush and then a wash, and that was it. I wouldn't put
yeah.
any effort into bases at all, and I really had an aversion to doing them.
That's
I
interesting.
Once AT came out, I just went, you know what? I knew instantly that I had to put something on the base to make it stand out.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
you've
because it's such a
started.
big, the scale seems so big that it's like to have it just on a plain base. And what's
Yeah,
funny is you didn't like them, and then like I see a lot of people always complimenting you on your AT bases, so it's just kind of funny that, it was like, oh, hey, it looks really cool, and like you didn't even really like doing them at first.
the amount of people that think they're like printed up bases, and
Yeah,
it's just basically sand, scenic rocks, and bits of the Civitas kits cut up. And it's just like I did on my YouTube. I did do a video showing you how I did make a base, and you see me
okay,
from
yeah, I
plain
actually,
to
yeah,
done, not painted, but obviously all done like within 20 minutes of me talking over doing it. It doesn't take no time at all. It's just been thinking about how the Titan, because I always try to get the Titan's legs done first, so I know what sort of stance it's going
yeah,
for,
makes sense.
where I'm going to position the feet, basically, and then work around it that way. But yeah, my basing has definitely come on quite a lot in the last 3 years.
I I agree completely, and by that I mean I am okay at basing. I use a lot of weird things to do it, but it's really a lot of I prime it, I dry brush it, I wash it, and then it's okay. Because the army painter secret is this stuff, which is literal concrete.
I
I
approve.
base with this. I base with literal concrete.
Mm.
It
So
works amazingly. Uh, it's cheap enough. It comes in a big tub, and it works on display boards really well. It
mm.
gives okay things at any scale. I use a little bit of it for Titanicus, but like I I hate assembling the Titanicus buildings. I don't know what it is. They're just a pain to assemble.
they only give you a few examples in the sort of kits, but
Yeah.
you can literally just pretty much do anything. But then you're sort of restricted. Like the real big pieces are only really suitable for base, like the lowest levels.
Mhm.
Then you work up from there, basically.
I have like 4 or 5 boxes of the stuff, and
Mm.
like assembling the cube of the buildings, it's I'm using super glue, so maybe it's better with plastic glue, but I don't
Yeah,
know.
Ooh,
yes, a plastic glue for polycement for the actual buildy bits. But when you
so
said about your concrete, your cement sort of thing for your bases, was it like the polyfiller or whatever you call it over there? Where when I do my bases, because I do like I've got a sand tub that
Mhm.
I've got
A big
various
tub of sand.
bits of sand, rocks, rubble, and the secret ingredient is bicarbonate of soda because I use super
Really?
glue base.
Oh yeah, the baking glue, baking soda super glue.
Yeah,
It creates
it's
little sprinkles.
instantaneously sets like concrete,
Mhm.
um,
Oh,
but you
see,
can't
we
sand
got
it down.
secret information here. I didn't hear that one anywhere before much, so that's a good
You never
one.
asked me about basing before.
No one asked me about paintovers, but wait, while we're here, Alex or Echoes usually he said he usually counts models per base. Makes sense to me.
Mhm.
Alex says I've officially joined the 21st century and acquired a wet palette. Now I have to decide what to paint next. Do either of you use a wet palette?
I,
Yes, it's too dry here to not, but also I use my dry palette a lot because I dry brush a lot.
Mm-hmm. So it's a little mix of the two for you. King Crimson said, easy way to base, cover base and glue, throw and stand, like the way you think. Alex,
Mhm.
hey, Sashimi usually will join us for hobby chat. So I do a Twitter on Twitter, usually Mondays and Tuesdays. The official time would be 10. The Tuesday show is like a different one. So every Tuesday, if you go to my Twitter at 10 a.m. Eastern, there'll be like a hobby chat. And it's, a bunch of us, whoever swings by, stops in and chats hobby. So that's how I got to know Sashimi. So he's from Vegas. Hi to everyone in Vegas. Anytime I see him, because I had a Vegas trip and all I did was go to eat, I always see him and then I get a little pang of jealousy where I'm like, oh man, I'd be going to this restaurant right now. And if I was him, I'd be skipping the show and going out to eat. So I'm honored that you make it. And Jay Goldberg stopped in. So thank you very much for stopping by.
I will say, Alex, now that you've got a wet palette, I would recommend any model with a cape because capes are real fun to paint and they're real easy to make look good. And having a wet palette definitely will help you with like layering and stuff and doing capes because capes are
Okay,
dope. Capes
okay.
are
I
easy.
never thought about that, but it makes
Mhm.
sense because it's good for when you have a larger surface and you need that wet paint and you got to blend a few together. That's probably the ideal circumstance
Mhm.
for it.
And also, like lights and shadow are super easy to visualize on a cape because of the folds in the fabric. It's
Yeah.
like painting ruffles, which I'm also a fan of. I have like a big vampire I need to paint somewhere.
And now, okay, ATE, you played? When did you get Adeptus Titanicus models? When did I can't remember. You've had them for a while. Have you played any games with
About a
them?
year now. Yeah,
Okay.
Charity and I played a bunch of games at home.
Okay.
That's partially why I do so much terrain, is so I can play games in my house.
Makes sense. I'm still there. I still see Lee and it just cracks me up. He's got the Wookiee outfit on. That's it. I need to get merch. I need to get merch. I need to send Lee a shirt so that I can get free advertising on my show. Oh, wait. Speaking of advertising, wait, we'll try to step up into the. So, Elric's Hobbies. Wait, let me try to do this and then get it all back. We're going to go here. Okay, so if you
There
go
we
to
go.
elricshobbies.com, and they have a 20% off sale going till like Black Friday. And so you can go there. I ordered some bases. I forget which ones I ordered. Let me flick through these. I don't even think I have the ones I ordered up. Maybe I ordered a set of these. I think I got like 8 of these. Um, but they got some cool ones. And I was like, I don't know. I think I looked at the price and with the 20% off, I think they're only like $5 or $6 for I don't even know how many of them. There might have been 10 or 8 of whatever I got. And so I was like, well, I'll get some and then that way I don't have to actually make bases. So that would speed me up on painting. So if you go to elrixhobbies.com, check them out, 20% off sale for the week. Now back to your regular scheduled broadcast. Hang on.
I'm not affiliated with them, but I've bought their rocks. They're really good for basing. Going back to the topic of basing, just stick them in
Oh,
whatever you've
see,
got on the ground.
I was happy because I was like, you were in Discord. And I was like, yeah. I was like, I think. Elric's, I'm gonna get some stuff and we might work something out in the future or whatever. And I'm like, I'll start. And he's like, and you had brought up, you're like, oh, I got some of their basing and it was really cool. I'm like, all right, good. Like someone with some experience from them and everything. So I've heard good things and all that. So check them out.
I have no idea where
Maybe,
those rocks are.
does anybody even make really Titanicus size bases? Like Lee, have you seen any like kind of pre-made bases
Yeah,
that fit that?
there's a few places you get sort of mentioned in like various Titanicus groups.
Okay.
Um, Scenery wise, and especially if you've got 3D printing capability,
Yeah, I'd go nuts.
Bronco Fish with his grimdark terrain is probably one of the
It's
best.
real good.
Yeah,
Who
the
is that
guy,
again?
Grimdark Terrain. He's a
Okay.
guy called Bronco Fish. He's actually German, called Rudolph, I think
Wow,
his name
why?
is.
Okay,
Um,
I'm surprised I didn't check that out before. All right.
yeah, if you want Titanicus stuff,
Mm-hmm.
his stuff is next level, and he's always making it easy for you to download. Like he does like a Patreon, and
Yeah.
each month you get some stuff thrown your way to print off. You can obviously, I think you can buy them separately and all that, but he makes it so easy for you to just print off on whatever printer you've got, and
Yeah.
I can attest to this. I've printed out a good amount of his stuff, and it is amazing. I'm trying to find the picture I took.
yeah,
There was one day I just set up a bunch of things with like epic models
mm.
and titans and all that, and it's
Edward.
real good stuff and easy to print.
Edward. It's if you search for Grim Dark Terrain,
Okay.
he's on Facebook. He's known as Bronco Fish, so as in like
Okay.
the Broncos fish. But he's Grim Dark Terrain is his actual website and marketplace sort of thing.
Okay.
I
But
posted a
Cool.
link in
he
the chat.
does like he's done this Goliath like ship like lander shuttle thing, and it's about 12 inches long when you print it off.
Oh
Uh,
God.
so it looks perfect. Like you can get like at least I think 2/3 of a warhound behind it. So it's just like
Wow.
something to have on a battlefield. He's been doing like landing pads and statues and all sorts of bits and pieces, Mechanicum themed things. But he's, from what I've seen, the stuff he is pretty epic looking. Um, so yeah, definitely worth checking him out. I would say he's probably the leader in AT Scenics, at least anyway.
I agree. Like
Yeah,
I
that's good
made
to.
what is it? I'm trying to find the picture of the like I printed out a bunch of his like first month bunker stuff, and like it also fits really well with the GW stuff. I'm just gonna post a link there. I don't know if it'll work. Oh no, that won't work.
I
Whatever.
know. I wish there's no. Yeah, I wish there was an easier way to share links or something like that. Especially there's all these
Oh, I can
platforms
share
now.
screens, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm always like all over the place, and it's like half the time you can't share stuff.
Ooh, this might work. Yeah, that almost works. I think I could use Google Photos just to do it.
Just passing by, saying hi, AE, before going to watch whatever bad horror movie. Thanks for swinging by the stream.
Always welcome to say hello to everyone.
Yeah, I know. This is like it. I feel like at Apex, I'm like 8 people watching. I feel famous. Like that's it. Like there's no like this is the exact amount of fame I need. I'm like perfect. We got a live stream, multiple guests, people chatting.
Yeah, I've got. I'm going to try and do. Hopefully, my internet is back to normal. So hopefully this Saturday I'll be doing my hobby stream again. So
Okay, good.
I've had a few people ask me, when are you coming back on?
Yeah. They're fun. Whatever. I start getting all excited. I'm like, oh, I get to chat with Lee, and then I was like having that, and I was on Discord, and I'm like, all right, I'm like, let me start getting like the other guests. I was like, oh, let's see if Clayton wanted to come on. He's like, sure. So I'm like, perfect timing. We can chat for a few. Because in my mind, I imagine having like on our Wednesday show, like with you and I, maybe we have some guests once in a while, maybe we don't, whatever. And then I'm going to schedule some other kind of show for the YouTube. And that's why when everyone was asking, I asked that question to everyone. I was like, hey, what do you want out of the hobby? And I was like, okay, part of it, I want to monetize, but then I also want to like, just I want to be conscious of, I guess, what the community is kind of like on average, what they're kind of looking for. You know what I mean? I'm like, all right, if I'm planning on kind of doing a business with this, I need to, just focus on that and kind of, see what your actual people around the community want.
Well,
Uh,
yeah, it's called market research,
yeah, I guess it is.
and
Broke a
every good
talent,
Wookiee knows this.
broke a talent off a power talent. Fixing it has been the bane of my existence.
All right. So as someone who has broken a lot of models as well, super glue, gel, Instaset.
Oh,
It'll
see,
it'll
look at
it'll
all these
it'll it'll
pro
help
tips.
really well.
Yeah, this show is getting more and more useful.
um, Lee, what do you use to fix Titan stuff? Because I know
I
the
just use
Warlord back
brute
really.
force and determination.
Yeah, honestly,
Um,
I
so yeah, literally, obviously, I just use poly cement for the most part, and obviously with resin, I just use Loctite super glue, um, and that's it. I
I'm
have
glad we're on the same
recently,
brand.
yeah, yeah, they'd probably be I don't know if they'd be rebranded over in the States. Um, if you have, or you might have Loctite, I don't know.
Yeah,
Um,
we
Oh
have
yeah.
Loctite. It's
yeah.
the like I use the blue one because it comes out as a gel and it's easier to like
Hmm.
manipulate, I guess, than the red container, which is liquid, and everything's glued together.
I normally find like a 5 gram bottle and whatever's cheapest at the time. I literally salute the other weekend. I was entering some models into the painting competition, and one of my Warbringer, it's one of its weapons, the magnet came out.
Oh.
And so I was rushing around several gaming stores saying, "Do you sell super glue?" And half of them didn't have any. Um, so
I
yeah, that was
I
fun.
definitely keep some in my gaming bag, but I also buy it by the 12 pack.
Yeah. Well, I normally would have took some with me, but I
Mm-hmm.
got a bit blasé and I didn't take it with me. I ended up spending £7.55,
Oh my god.
which is probably around about $12 for a tube of gel super glue. Um,
Yeah, that's like 10, that's like 10. Oh god. Oh,
yeah,
jeez. I mean,
that was. I only bought 3 things that day: super glue and two little model kits from Bad Squiddo of a. Well, I don't know if you know Bad Squid. It's like a little.
the name sounds familiar.
They do sort of like very well. They do a
Oh
lot of sort
yeah,
of
I've seen them on Twitter. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, like animals. Like I'd uh, oh, I can't remember it. Capybara, a
yeah,
capybara
they
for
do all the
bazookas.
capybaras.
So that and a little impersonator, like a human person, but underneath you see at its legs where its like coat opens up, you see a whole host of bunny rabbits
Oh, that's good.
making the shape of this monster, of this person. It's just weird but cute and just totally different from Titans.
Yeah,
So I like my little palette cleansers every now and it's always weird and cute and fluffy, which is obviously like I am now. Uh,
I on the topic of palette cleansers. Yeah, I've been painting a ton of War Master lately. Just a lot of Beasts of Chaos War Master, which
Chewy.
is also just terrible. Oh,
Sothis Pennis said Chewy. They're noticing. They're noticing our Wookiee.
There's Sophus. He's a big Legio Fortidus princeps, so like 28
Really?
mil. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
oh, nice.
Yeah, so he's probably got the best looking Fortidus Titans around.
That's a good
But
scheme.
the thing is, there's been a lot of I've had several people saying, but Fortidus are red. And I'm going, well, according to the artwork in the books, they're orange. They've got red, the tilt shields have got red on them, fair enough. But it does look very orange to me.
Yeah, it looks orangish brown the way that I'm
Yeah,
seeing it.
But yeah, he's done several Titans of the 28mm scale in 40 disc colors, and they are really really awesome. So he's always definitely worth. And that's his name on Instagram as well. So if anyone wants to follow him, feel free, because you won't be disappointed. He does lots of other projects as well, but I know him for his Dauntless Titans.
Oh, he said, oh, because Alex was talking about, I forget what the name was you mentioned, but he called them whimsy anthropomorphic.
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 Yeah, that's a mouthful, but I like those two words. They look good together.
Yes.
King Crimson said I should count up what I have painted. Yeah, King Crimson was active for a while painting. You were painting some orcs and you were getting a bunch done there for a while. Alex
Well,
says
as
Lee
I said to
Princeps.
you yesterday on the Twitter chat that about you building stuff being a sign of
Oh,
the
see, everybody, I know, and then I didn't know what I was saying. That goes to show you got to be careful when you're running your mouth online. All I said was, I go, I'm something about building stuff. I'm like, oh, I'm something excited about building stuff, and I was meaning I'm like working on whatever this Artist Empire thing, and people misinterpret it to think I was like building a miniature. So then they got all excited. And then I was like,
That
oh
don't happen.
no. People are like spreading it. I'm remembering this. And like people, I saw a couple of people comment on it. Like I was building. I was like, oh my gosh, dude. I'm like, with the super active chats, I need to be careful with my wording or else people will think I'm actually building something.
No.
But soon, this year I'm making it, darn it. I am
Like
putting
this year or
together some
next
stuff.
year.
Yeah,
You've
well,
not got
maybe
much
next
left
year.
of this year.
Yeah, I'm not doing 2022. That's the big year for putting some
You
stuff
said
together.
2023 to me yesterday.
Well, I hedge. I always start further out, and then I have a little ground to
He's
give.
he's planning for the Eldar Codex to come
Yeah,
out around the same time he paints something.
yeah. I start further out, and then you can subtract.
Yeah. All my princeps are all badgers. So Alex is mentioned there.
uh,
They're doom badgers, as in my imaginary black metal band that I made up.
Give me. I'm gonna mute myself for a minute. I'm gonna go take care of the dog, and then I'll be right back. You two.
This chat is extremely dangerous to me because I am like teetering on the edge of making a 28mm scale Laniuscara.
Well, it would probably be the first one out there because I
Yeah,
haven't seen any 28 mils. I've got a friend of because I did a Laniuscara
in the base.
which I sort of gave out because Robert Crouchley, who's one of the like rules gurus at Specialist Games Forge World, he basically just said, "Can you work on a scheme, an easy scheme that I could do, sort of thing?" So I went about it and basically just done it. But my friend David Richardson, who normally joins me on, well, he doesn't join me, he joins in on my live streams. He's done some really nice looking Laniuscara because he uses, because you know all the tribal markings.
Yeah, it's tricky. I
Yeah.
did mine with stencils. I
Well,
made stencils for it.
yeah, he's been doing sort of doing it freehand, but what he's been doing is where he's done like the metallic base coat, he goes over with titanium white, and then he uses because I was using aphomatic blue, and like do a couple of layers of aphomatic blue over the actual top of that. So it just comes through quite nicely. So you get the tribal sort of markings on it. Obviously it's a pain in the ass. It'd
Oh
be
yeah,
easier,
it absolutely is.
yeah. It'd be easier if it had stencils. But that's the thing. You see the artwork, you go, you know what, that looks really cool. And then you think, like
Yeah,
with Legio Veneta, you look at
yeah,
Legio Veneta and you go, it's got cool rules, looks cool, but it's spider webs. So
yeah. Oh yeah. When I was getting into it, that book just came out. Retrodon of something.
Crucible of Retribution.
Crucible of Retribution. That's it. And I love me some Melee, but my first game I played against Volpa, and no.
Oh,
I can't honorably make Volpa because it was a Warlord Titan sprinted almost 12 inches and smashed me in the face, and I was like, "That's dope."
I was actually, funny enough, I was a friend of mine messaged me this morning saying like, Warlord Titans with Ariok Power Claws. Have you ever used one? Uh, and I said, yeah, I've used one once, and it absolutely gutted a Reaver with, like, he had maximum charge, so he got the bonus to his attacks,
Mhm.
and he literally just ripped out his guts and showed it to it. And I basically went on to say, like, the one place you would not want to be is in front
In
of a
front of
Warlord
it.
Titan that's charging you, because that would be the most scariest place in hell, because that thing is going to absolutely tear you a new one.
I'm so excited about the Iconoclast because of that exact same thing. Like
Mm,
I I like Tritonus. Tritonus is neat. Tritonus does not work with a melee Warlord Titan. No matter how many curtains you put in front of it, they're still going to get out of the way.
mm.
Um, I painted up my Warlord for Tritonus because that's what I wanted to do originally. But like,
Warlords and charging is definitely a later stage part of the game.
oh yeah,
You've got you would have to definitely get um, advantage in numbers in order to sort of try and get them to maneuver into your position so you can charge them. Um, yeah, it's very rare that you wouldn't be able to. Generally, you wouldn't be able to get a warlord charging in the earlier stages and be successful generally.
yeah.
But
It it's a hard one.
yeah, because obviously they're not that maneuverable compared. Like if you're trying to charge a warhound, even a reaver.
Oh
I
yeah.
only
Oh
literally got
no.
the reaver because his legs were buggered, and it was just in the way, and I had superiority of numbers. So only the once, but it showed me just how vicious those things can be when hitting them full force with an area paraclaw.
Oh yeah, it's devastating, and if anyone out there is doubting giving their warlord a melee weapon, give them two at 28 mil scale. Who cares? Do it. I did it, and it's great. What does it do? Nothing, but it's great.
Looks
that's the
awesome.
It looks sick as hell. That's all that matters.
Well, that's the thing. I did it the other way around, where I had in another game I had a Reaver with its power fist, and I thought, right, I'm going to go smack this warlord, and I was quite deflated by like hitting it and going. It's like just going. Boop. Damn you, Reavers!
My girlfriend was playing they're white, they have checkerboards. I can't remember their name. We were doing hexagons because hexagons are cooler than checkerboards. They're mountain vibes.
They're white and they're checkable. Was that Sentinels of the Edge?
Yes, that's the one. I couldn't remember their
Legio
name.
Lysander.
Yeah, Lysander, that's it. That was the first time I ever got the Laniuscara Ruptura volleyball game off, where I killed the Warlord Titan that my Reaver was close to with a Warbringer, so that my Reaver that had already charged got to charge again into another Reaver, kill that, and it was just, oh, it's so fun.
Mhm.
Ruptura Maniple is it's great. I need to make a Warbringer.
so
There's
any
really- oh,
someone who's in chat, I have a couple. Okay, if you have an Audible and you don't, what's funny is I tried to do this on. I had a little hobby chat, and it was really like 5 or 6 of us in there. But I was like, hey, I'll give away an Audible book, and I went to give it away. I gotta get one to Sashimi. So Sashimi, if you're still in here, we got to pick out a book, and then if someone else is listening now and you want to respond in chat, there's only 8 people, so like you got great odds, and probably 3 of them are us. So
Yeah,
So like we won't do it. But if you want an Audible book, just kind of reply in here and whatever, I don't know, first one or something like that. I will you'll have to get me on Twitter. Like if you message me on Twitter, I need your email address and then we can just pick a book and I'll send one out to you because I'm sitting on a bunch of Audible creds and I know some people are really listening to them a lot. I don't get to listen to them a lot, so I'm more than happy to share one if you're out there.
I,
So if you want one, let me know.
so say hi to Hive Mind. He's just passing through. He wanted to say hi.
Oh, go
But,
ahead. Appreciate you as usual.
yeah. I actually used up 3 of my Audible credits today.
Did you?
I did. There was a couple of circumstances that occurred and made me thought, you know what? I haven't listened to the Night Lords trilogy. I haven't read the Night Lords trilogy. And so I downloaded all 3 of them. And I was listening to them on the way and on my way back from work today. And I have to say, as you know, as a fan of Mr. Aaron Dembski-Bowden, yeah, I can see what all the fuss was about. So far, it's been pretty good.
Okay.
I enjoy his books on a regular basis, but Night Lords. So many people that I know absolutely loved the Night Lords trilogy, and they've that and Gaunt's Ghosts are like on their sort of the high regard meter of awesomeness.
You
But
got
yeah,
it, Alex.
definitely worth it. Definitely worth
So,
listening to.
Alex, just DM me. Hopefully, you got my Twitter. If you got my Twitter, just DM me on Twitter, and we'll sort it, and I'll get you one.
I've I've heard good things about the Infinite and the Divine, and I've got like a movie poster style thing of it hanging up on my wall just because it's really good looking. Uh, and I hear it's really good, and I downloaded that the other day, and also just Trazen's a joy. He's a joy of a character.
As I say, there's always like characters you can pick out from things that sort of just have resonance with you.
Oh,
You get all the popular ones, but funnily enough, one of my favourite characters in all the books that I've read, Heresy or 40k or whatever, is from Mechanicum. It's a character called Romu 31, who was basically he's like a pumped up Skitari who was operating as a sort of he's a Skitari protector or something like that. But I just absolutely loved it. He doesn't do much, but what he does is very sort of like it appealed to my sense of awesomeness.
Yeah.
So I absolutely love Romu 31 because of what he does. Not sometimes you don't need a guy who's going to be leaping over tanks, throwing grenades down
No,
barrels,
a lot of times, no. The more
smashing the crap
interesting
out
to
of
me is
something.
always like the secondary characters or like the little like characters of nuance that I often liked in books. Like, you know what I mean? Like a lot of times it wasn't like the main hero that I was drawn to. It was someone who still made some good choice, but wasn't like the main character or whatever, you know?
Yeah,
I think I probably one of my favorite very minor dudes. He's in like the 3rd Fabius Bile book. If anyone has any plans on reading it, you should. Uh, Fabius goes to this dude and he's like, "Hey, I need some help." And the guy's like, "Okay, cool." So he gets in his Reaver Titan and his 3 Warhounds, and he's like, "We're good. Let's go."
Roll out.
And I'm just like,
Autobots.
"Okay, this is gonna be good," and it was. It's really good, and he's also like an interesting character because like slight spoilers, the Titans lost, but he was like, "I don't care. It was a great fight. I enjoyed it." And I'm like, okay, okay.
Well, I think special recognition should also go out to Cyphus Kane's long-serving aide Jurgen, who he's the guy. He's basically like this Imperial Guard for this Valhallan unit that gets attached to the Commissar as his personal aide, but he can get any vehicle from any place, whatever they land. he will have a vehicle, which is, they always like the Salamander Scout tank. He will find one and get it, but he's not that great on personal hygiene, which has helped him out in one stage where he's walking along trying to find a commissar on a planet that's infested with chaos, and a load of like Nurgle corrupted guys are walking alongside, and they just ignore him.
That's kind of
As
funny.
he's walking along with them, sort of thing, trying to find his commissar. But he also has a he has just remember there was like this meeting between like all these higher echelons of the command staff and of different army groups all coming together, and every sort of like general and high-ranking officer had their own PA, and Jurgen is like basically like looking at them like going, "I'm the best here. You stay down there," sort of thing. And he has that little look, that rivalry with everybody, every other aide that there is out there.
That's what Echo said. Jurgen is the best.
Jurgen is the best.
And then I knew King Crimson. He likes the Infinite Divine because we've chatted about that before. He really liked that one. A lot of people. I was really contemplating, and I was going to get some book that covered a bunch of Robitaille coming back, right? I wanted a more recent one because I got a recent call one, and I was thinking about a Robitaille, whatever his name is, Robitussin. And yeah, Robitussin, he'll come in there, but I was looking at that new Space Wolves one, so I was wondering because I always liked Space Wolves, and I was like, oh, I was contemplating that, and I've seen it out a couple times, and I was debating whether or not I should get that one to listen to.
One of the best stories I've read with Space Wolves in it is Emperor's Gift by Aaron. It's really, really good because it also covers the Grey Knights as well.
And they're always fun.
Yeah, so lots go down in the book, and you do get to see some really awesome characters in there, like Logan Grimnar in there.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, no, he's definitely it's a one-off book. It covers one of the wars of Armageddon. I think it was the second. No, it might be the third war of Armageddon.
There's so many wars on Armageddon. Go figure. It's like
it's the second war because the first one was orcs, the second one was chaos, and the third one was orcs.
If you were on the planet of Armageddon, you better never be surprised when something horrible happens. Like, it better not be like one of those modern horror movies where it's like, oh no, a meteor's coming, we're all freaking out, we don't know what to do. You better be like, yeah,
this is
it's
Tuesday.
just a meteor again. This is Armageddon. Like, chill.
Armageddon has basically had its population replaced several times over because of because chaos turn up.
Yeah.
And the Inquisition don't want people knowing.
Nope, they're all done once that happens. Alexander says, I liked Watchers on the Throne. I am not familiar with Watchers on the Throne. Hey, Mechanical Frog Stopper, thanks for stopping by.
Short story, half of the Hearth world, I think, or something. I always get the name mixed up. Half of the Throne world or Hearth world, something like that. It was a short heresy story about a similar to what Alexander was saying, like Watchers, because in the heresy, Space Wolves sent out watch packs, packs of Space Wolves to watch Primarchs in case of betrayal.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Which some of them got to their targets to sort of be there in the background. Yeah. One that was, for example, the one that was sent to watch Gulliman, basically got off their sort of transport, and the leader of the pack walked up to Gulliman and says, "We've been sent here to keep an eye on you, and if you're traitorous, we're going to kill you." And like Gulliman's gone, really? And this wolf just said, You put us in a room with you, you're dead. Right? He's like, okay.
Oh wow. I didn't
Yeah,
know that.
but yeah, it was there was several that were sent out. There was some sent out to obviously all the legions, but you don't hear about them all because obviously some of them might have been killed en route or whatever. But the half of the Hearth world, half. I can never remember the name.
Hey, good,
That's
because I'm always the one who can't speak, so it makes me feel good when someone else stumbles over words.
yeah, but it's
I'll
just
just,
it's one of those annoying
yeah,
ones.
yeah.
But it's the pack that gets sent to watch Dawn on Terra, and they don't want to go to Terra. They want to stay with the Wolf King. I don't want to go, and they
Oh,
basically said it to him. They said it to his face. I don't want to go. We don't want to go. And he goes, "No, you're going." But I don't want
I don't want
to.
to. I don't want to go. Wolves aren't meant for the big city.
Yeah, but it's the whole fact because they have the way it's written is that they've got their names, but they also have their Fenrisian names,
Yeah, yeah.
and one of them, the ultimate name is No Foes Remain, is his name.
Oh
So
yeah, that's
basically,
a
he gets
cool
into a
one.
fight, there'll be no one left.
Yeah,
And that's it's sort of. Do you remember White Dwarf with the werewolf,
yeah,
the Apocalypse game?
yep,
You choose a name to reflect your character. That's
yes,
what it
yes,
reminded me of,
yeah,
and it
yeah.
was just like it just sounded really cool. And it said, "Oh yeah, this is No Foes Remain," because
Yeah,
when
I
you
remember that
No
about
Foes
because I
Remain,
played
you kill
Werewolf for White Wolf was one of my favorite games.
them.
And Mechanical Frog, we are staying out of trouble, I think, but I just hope that your house is getting finished. I know Mechanical Frog they've been like doing some work on his house for like 6 months, so I'm hoping that gets finished up for you. We got to
Oh
get you
yeah.
on stream. You got another one you have to stop on here on stream.
Yeah. As Alex is saying, he likes. I think it was Mechanicum, Fulgrim, Legion, Mortis, the Lost and the Damned, and the Buried Dagger.
The Buried Dagger. What's the Buried Dagger? I never heard of the
It
Buried
was the
Dagger.
last book by James Swallow. Was the last book of the Horus Heresy series before they started the siege of Terra.
Okay, okay.
And
Yep, that makes sense
basically,
now.
it's a book showing what happens to the Death Guard, how the Death Guard are corrupted, because
Oh.
there's certain books throughout the series which are basically the evolution of the Primarchs books, as I call it. So you've got Vengeful Spirit is the evolution of Horus into being super bad
Oh, that makes sense. Okay,
because
yeah.
before his evolution, there was no way he could defeat the Emperor in
Yeah.
combat or whatever. And then what happens in that leads him to becoming powerful enough to
Able
take
to,
on the
yeah, okay.
Emperor. You've got Buried Dagger, which is the one to show Mortarians sort of fall and elevation.
Okay.
Betrayer is the
Karn,
fall
I
and
think,
elevation of
right?
Angron.
Oh, Angron, yeah.
I think
Fulgrim is self-explanatory, and also
yeah.
I have heard
Although
that it's real good.
it's Angel. Oh, it's the other book. Fulgrim shows you what happens in that, but it's not till Angel Exterminatus, which is where he becomes a demon prince. Basically,
I need to read it.
Huh.
it's actually quite. It's not a
God,
bad
they
book.
got so many books now. It's
They have so many books.
insanity.
Yeah,
I've been told if I'm going to read any book out of the Heresy, read Fulgrim, and it's not just because I'm a big Emperor's Children fanboy, but because I hear it's an amazing book.
Huh.
yeah.
Good to know.
Graham, when he wrote it, or when he was going to write it, he basically specifically said to the editors and the hierarchy, "Say, look, you've got to let me write it how." Because Fulgrim and the Emperor's Children, it's a tragedy. It's
It hurts. It hurts.
one too many steps down the wrong path, sort of thing.
Yeah,
And
that's why I like the Bile series
hmm,
because Clone Fulgrim is an amazing character, and it hurts my soul.
There's still debate about if he's still actually alive, Clone Fulgrim.
Probably he's just hanging out with Trazen.
Oh, that's right. They got all the clone. Yeah, they've got clones of them now too. Quite a few running around.
Because that was a speculation I heard years ago, where they were saying that like loyal Fulgrim comes back
So
to the Imperium and
Oh.
helps to lead against the traitors and stuff.
So long as we have noise marines, I'll take it.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
that's the thing, because he's the pure form of Fulgrim, not.
yeah. I'm trying to think, because like they made Cacophoni before they broke bad, right? I mean, that was all Fabius is doing because he's just a crazy dude.
Yeah, the cacophony.
Yeah.
Because obviously old Eidolon got the old death scream.
He's a weirdo.
He's a weird guy. Eidolon is a douche. He is an absolute.
Yeah, I cannot stand.
But in game, his model and his rules are freaking. Because I used him.
I took his head.
He went in with his happy hammer and smashed the crap out of Gulliman. And my mate took a photograph of me as I've done this, and because I in my internal Space Marine was Ultramarines, and I was playing against my mate with his Ultramarines in Heresy game, and there's this photograph of me, and it's just like this grin of like amusement and sort of like happiness, and like I couldn't believe it that Eidolon just comes swooping in and just batters the prime out with his hammer and kills him.
That's awesome. I used Eidolon's head on some Terminator somewhere.
I used his helmet for one of my Palatine blades because I absolutely love Palatine blades.
Oh, they're so cool. I really like. That's my biggest hope, because next year they've said it's Chaos year, is that they give Emperor's Children and World Eaters the treatment they gave Death Guard and Thousand Sons, where they give us really cool Terminators and a Primarch.
No, Snake Hips is definitely needs to come out.
I know. The reason I will not convert a Snake Fulgrim is because by the time I do, they're going to say, "Hey, look, we're going to release one," and I'm like $300 in the hole.
Fulgrim goes places. Greg said he just picked up Siege of Terra 1, the Solar War, and Lost in the Damned. And then
the Siege of Terra series, as a standalone series from the Heresy, is still worth reading, because that's the whole thing about the Horus Heresy. We know how it starts, we know how it ends.
Let's hear the in-betweens.
But it's filling out those little gaps, like what happened to lead this. And the thing is, you're reading or listening to these stories, and you're going, "No, don't do that! Don't press that button! Don't do it!" You know they're going to press it, and you know it's going to happen. And that's the thing; it just gets you so rolled up. You go, "Why did you press it? Why did you do that?"
Why? A lot of people like Mortarion. So Mechanical Frog says, we all know deep down that Mortarion is a good guy at 40K, and Alex says Mortarion is my muse. And I've heard like a few other people, I haven't read anything, about, I mean, besides the basics of his lore, but none of his books. But I hear quite a few people like are fond of Mortarion.
Yeah, he was one of those Primarchs that the Lord of Death, But if you read Warhawk, the latest in the Siege of Terror books, that's heavy Death Guard, and it's really I'm no spoilers at all. I'm not going to say anything about it, but what happens between him and the Warhawk, the Khan, is just it just shame.
I don't remember the name of the book, but it was one that involved Grey Knights, and how in the first 10 minutes, like a Grey Knight's like, "I'm going to fight you without a helmet," and Mortarion's like, "Okay," and they just blows some wind.
Heart Mortarian, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that like literally it could very well just be the prologue of that book where literally like the Grey Knights are like, I'm going to fight you honorably without a helmet, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna stink really bad.
Yeah, no, it's like, but that's the thing. It's like the way they're doing it in 40k and Heresy to a point is basically the Death Guard, because the four great powers are sort of in a way associated with like the four horsemen of the apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh yeah, I guess you're right.
the first
Wow.
horseman is what he was known for a very, very long time as Conquest, but then he was changed to Pestilence. There's Mortarion. Who comes next is War.
War.
And that is Mr. Angry Ron himself.
Angry Ron. He's
Angry
right
Ron.
Angry Ron.
Angry Ron. Then Famine, which would I'd imagine would be Slanesh in some respects, because I don't know why.
Yeah. I would say that works because of excess, and they need to consume everything excessively, and
Yeah.
drought and a
You
famine,
can't when you're
something like that.
banished. But yeah, and then obviously it's weird that Zench is death. But that's the same sort of thing. Basically, you know, Nurgle is Mortarion, Mortarion is Pestilence, Pestilence is Conquest, because that's what a virus does. It, you know, it goes around, spreads itself, and you all fall ill, and he's won. Because that's why it's been so heavily Death Guard since that like 8th edition started, and the whole Indomitus Crusade is all about the Death Guard. So it would be nice to sort of start getting some of the, like, you know, Khorne Berserkers again, updated models and all that sort of stuff. Again, Slaneshi dudes, and well, we've had a little bit of Zedge stuff, haven't we? With the new like Tanzanors and like Marines.
Yeah,
and stuff.
they've had some. I can't remember. Yeah, I think they've kind of spread it around. Have Corn? What did they do?
No.
Did they do some? Has Corn had anything coming out
Nothing.
recently?
Not really.
Nothing.
No.
Oh, interesting.
Like they did the one Noise Marine, and that was enough to keep us happy for 3+ years now. I have 45. I have 45 Noise Marines. None
Oh
are
my
printed.
God.
Cacophony.
5 of them are cacophony. 5 of them are cacophony, but I have 45 Noise Marines. None of them are printed, and it's suffering.
Yeah, it's like with like the Heresy, because like my Emperor's Children army is about 14,500 points, mostly infantry based. I've only got like 4 rhinos.
I hate vehicles. I love the sound of this because, like,
there's a lot of there's quite a few dreadnoughts in there.
Oh yeah, of course. The Emperor's Children Dreadnought looks so good.
But it's weird because when the Heresy all started back in sort of 2012, me and a couple of friends were all saying like, "Oh, we're going to do the Heresy. We're going to do the Heresy." My mate Scott went, "I want to do Horus, Sons of Horus. I want to do Sons of Horus." And so I was like, "Yeah, that's cool, go for it." Okay. I wanted to do Emperor's Children, but my other mate Jim, who was new to the hobby, said he wanted to do Emperor's Children. So I thought, right, okay, if he does Emperor's Children, because if I did them as well and I painted them better than him,
he'd be sad.
He'll be sad. So I went, okay, you do Emperor's Children. My mate Mike wanted to do World Eaters, and so I thought, oh, I'll do Death Guard. So the very first Heresy model I painted was a Death Guard. But when looking at the rule book, I thought, like, you know, their special Terminators, the guys with the scythes,
the guys with man rippers.
Oh yeah, I see those models. I remember those models.
Because you can't take them, like, from a fluff perspective, especially you can't take them in a loyal. Because I want to do Loyalist Death Guard.
Yeah.
and you can't take grave wardens, and you can't take the not the death specters, are they?
Oh, because those came
Death
out
shroud
after.
terminators.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I couldn't legitimize, like, in my fluff mindset, I
yeah.
couldn't legitimately take them in that. So I got a little bit and so I started Mechanicum. So I got some, Phalax and stuff, because I love Mechanicum anyway. And so I started Mechanicum Force, and then when book 3 was coming around, I thought I'll do Raven Guard, because in 40k I have Raptors, and the Raptors get mentioned in Deliverance Lost because they're one of the formations that Corax creates through all the because he does the Talons, the Hawks, the Falcons, and then when he reunited with all the new recruits, he calls them the Raptors. And so I thought that'd be like full circle. I have Heresy Raptors, and then I have 40k Raptors. That was my plan. So I built up a large Raven Guard force. I had Mechanicum, which would ally with said Raven Guard. But eventually, my mate Jim decided that he weren't going to do Emperor's Children. So I got hold of his few Palatine Blades and Dreadnoughts off of him.
Nice.
Because I played a game against Andy Hoare at one of the Heresy Weekenders, and I just got hold of Corax, and you had that little Marine that he's shooting. I asked Andy how he painted his Emperor's Children, and it was so easy. I thought, and I liked how it came out as well, and I just thought, you know what? I think I'm going to go Emperor's Children now. And,
so that's a good question.
Yeah.
How did he paint him? Because my Emperor's Children scheme for 40k is more of a magenta. It's like if you were to blend the current and the old, because it's definitely more purple and a lot less pink. But if I were to make an actual Horus Heresy force, because I have Titans and they can hang out too. I mean, I've painted the Emperor's Children logo on all of them, so it's they have to.
Yeah. But no, he basically, in the early sort of Forge World books, the coloration of the Emperor's Children is actually near enough how his ones came out, which was Lead Belcher as the base coat, and then a couple of coats of Drushi Violet.
Oh, his! I remember reading this. Yes, it's a big force and a good.
Yeah, so he was quite quick to do. So, and then after you've done that, you add Retributor Gold to the trim.
Then you have to do all the trim.
Then you just sponge on some Runefang Steel for chipping and stuff, and it just ties it all together. And it's quick and easy, and looks, as I say, very similar to the artwork, which was important to me because I like to look like the books, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
King Crimson asks, speaking of Fulgrim, have you done glam rock Fulgrim yell singing yet? He was asking me because we were talking in Discord about making when I draw Fulgrim, like kind of what I'm going for, and we were talking about sort of like almost like the glam rock. Because I was like, it has to be serious, so it can't be corny. So I can't have him corny because he actually has to look mean. But we were talking about like that, like a David Bowie, almost that, like the look on their face or whatever. So I was like, all right. So I've been pondering that. And the other one I'm going to end up drawing soon is Conrad Cruz, but only because I've been jamming out to the song the Day Is My Enemy from Prodigy. So I'm like, oh, I gotta draw that character to that song. So I was like, that's what I was like, my inspiration for that one.
One of your time lapse videos of one of my Titans.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
After watching that, I couldn't help myself but download The Day Is My Enemy and was listening to it and repeat.
Yeah, for some of them it works great. And what's funny is now that I've done a little more with like just sound in general, and sometimes I'll do music. And I'm like, okay, well, like especially on Twitter, you won't get shut down if I use like some song stuff. You know what I mean? You can put it on there, but like even I think the shorts you can use like either 15 or 30 seconds on like YouTube of their music, which is a lot of, registered artists or whatever, like the popular ones. And I think you could do the same like on Instagram. So I was like, okay, I like blending some of the music sometimes and trying to pick the right song, even though I don't even listen to much music. It's still kind of fun.
I've just sent you on Twitter my video I did with my Fulgrim. Um, I added music to it as
Crimson
well.
says Kurz. How do you say his last name? Not Cruz.
Cause
I I
See?
thought you were making a joke that you were going to use like Tom Cruise's face as
Yeah.
a reference.
No, I'm not that witty. just pure ignorance.
Conrad
Uh,
Kurz, or well, as, a lot of people say, oh, he's like Batman,
Yeah, kind
um, basically. But another friend of mine basically said, no, he's actually more like Robot Santa from Futurama.
of.
Who's been naughty or nice? You're all being naughty. That's what he does.
Frog, what are you working on? You're always working on something. He's been Frog's. I haven't
He's
checked
been
in the
churning
last
it
couple
out.
days. He's been putting out a lot of videos and content and churning out 3D prints.
With
Oh
his
yeah,
Metal stuff.
Alex is down with the sickness. Perfectly describes the transformation of the Death Star. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yes. No, say if you do read Warhawk or listen to Warhawk, the Siege books just have to be listened to or read or whatever, because it's such an epic scope of a battle. We all know, like, oh yeah, they turn up to Terra and they blow shit up. But there's so much that happens in there. The little individual battles, like for me, Saturnine, which was Dan Abnett's one, the fourth book. That if you've read the Heresy or you know a lot of what happens in the Heresy, that has so many payoffs in. It's unbelievable. Um, but yeah, all the books have been. I've enjoyed every book, even the novellas as well. Like Sons of Saturnine. Sorry, the Sons of Selenor and Fury of Magnus have all had bits in there where you just go, "Whoa."
Um,
I think Saturnine is one of my favorite GW or Black Library like cover arts for a book. Like it was in the advent calendar thing last year, and I have it like framed right up above my desk because it's such a good piece of art.
Mm. Very old Dawn standing on the walls and stuff.
The big bloodthirster also the the big giant demon on the wall.
Mm. They get around those dudes.
one thing. Okay, so wait. I know. Didn't you? I know. I always want to say bad posture, dude. I can't stand everyone having a million names. Clayton. Darn
Yeah, I'm
it, bad.
Clayton.
And it's not even bad posture. It's pretzel, and then I
Yeah,
probably have different names
I'm Clayton.
everywhere. Yeah. So you have you been playing any other like non-GW games? You've probably been busy with all your house stuff, but I mean, if you were playing any other GW games, any other than GW, what would you be playing, you think?
So the game that I have been playing lately that is not GW that used to be GW is War Master Revolution because I love me some tiny scales. I love me some rectangle bases.
Really?
Other yeah, yeah, like
Okay.
it's small scale, which is great because I can print it out real easy. I can print out terrain real easy. Um, here's a chaos spawn. It's very tiny.
Oh gosh, that is okay.
Yeah. And I've been working on a Beast of Chaos Force for that because uh, a sculptor did a bunch of really good like beast folks that aren't like
Yeah.
chaosy.
Okay.
Um,
I think I seen those. I think I did see
I,
those.
I like it because it's one of those games where, sure, there are factions and sure, the factions have rules, but it's all like on a page, and it's more about like the tactics and how you play the game than
I see that's I know
spamming the
that.
most effective unit.
Yeah, and I think a lot of games because a lot of people now just have like either shorter attention spans and or less time. So it's like I bought um Necromunda and you buy the book and then I
So many rule books.
okay, so wait, and then I'm like, man, am I really getting dumber with age? Because it doesn't seem like the rules to play seem scattered kind of through the book. And and
That's correct. They're scattered
okay,
throughout
so and I was like,
multiple books.
I'm like, do I not get it? Because I'm like, well, wait. And I was
Nope.
literally like, well, what am I just gonna like photocopy them and just like get rid of them and put them into my own book so I could
Yep.
have the rules in one book? And I'm like, why? I'm like, okay, so
There's a
then
group of
obviously
people
that's
that
not
do that.
just me, but I'm like, why would you? If I can,
It's
I'll forgive multiple books, but like if you have the rule book for one thing, put them together. Because I was like flipping back and forth, and I'm like, wow, all right, so at least it's not just me.
I think Necromunda is easily the hardest game to get into, and that is because of the rules being everywhere. Thankfully, a group of people online have collated it all into a single document, which is
Okay, that's what I was gonna
amazing.
say. Yeah, I have no problem even buying it, but then when you have to like go surf through everything to find it.
Yeah, no, it's so much easier in the single document. But going back to what you were saying about shorter attention span and things like that, the two games that I would play a game of this every day if I could. Either of them, Stargrave and Frostgrave are
Yeah,
two phenomenal skirmish games, and they're miniature agnostic. So like, use your Age of Sigmar models, use your 40K
yeah.
models, use your whatever. Another one that's really good. There was a guy who took the old Kill Team rules and he made them for Titanicus Knights, and it's a
Oh,
really good rule
really?
set. Yeah,
Ah,
it's Kill Team with Knights, and it's great because I like the Titanicus Knights, but I don't like how they play in Titanicus because it just
oh,
they're
interesting.
too good. They're too good. I feel that you're playing a different game.
Oh, wait, I want to hear this. What does Lee have to say about this? How do you feel about the Knights?
Well, after if I'm including the 28 mil that I've painted, I've got a lot of knights of about 180 knights.
So
Yeah,
you're probably pretty negative about them.
I mean, I've only
Yeah, I
got
really
40
hate them.
something.
I think they're scourge of the universe.
So what I'm gathering now is like Lee likes OP stuff. Is he the problem gamer? Is he the one who just shows up with the best stuff and is like smashes somebody?
I mean, I think here's the question I want to ask because I was not around for when the Porphyrion was 50 points.
Well, in 18, like when they brought the Porphyrion out and everyone realised just how nasty it was, my personal suggestion to resolve the situation, which nobody's ever listened to because who would? I'm just a bearded dude who has tummies. Was to basically have that Porphyrions don't benefit from the blast double hits over the center point. So
That's
4 shots, because it is a anti-knight, anti-titan knight. His whole purpose is to kill knights because knights don't have,
yeah.
that much sort of firepower. So it was like a walking gun emplacement to take on titans. So being 4 shots is still quite hefty, but they wouldn't have had to change any of the command modules. They just do a FAQ saying
It costs more.
they don't get the benefits of one knight being able to lay down 8 hits from those guns, because obviously getting the double hits is quite terrifying, especially when you could have them in a squadron of 4. So dropping them down to 2 was cool, and a little bit, nice because the
They were
biggest thing.
busted.
Yeah, yeah. But the thing is, they're basing all the weapons and stuff is based from the 40K scale stuff.
Mhm.
So they were just replicating what it has in 40K, which it does have a blast. They're not high strength weapons compared, they're not D weapons. They were strength 10, but it was the double hits.
Yeah, that definitely. I think that actually would have been a pretty good balance for them. I have a pretty decent sized house, Mamaragon. They're ocean themed.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
the force, and I played them once against my friends Solaria, and I felt like I was cheating. I love the knights. I love to paint them. I love to collect them. I just can't play them in Titanicus. I feel unless you're playing against other knights, in which case, sure, that's a whole different game. But pure knights versus pure titans just feels dirty.
Well, that's the thing though. It's like I've played, because so many people go, oh, it's Titanicus, not Knighticus, but
They belong in there. They're titans, but yeah.
well, yeah, they're hardened battle suits.
That won't work, Mechanical Frog, because I turn off all my alerts on everything.
But we're hearing it.
Yeah, he heard it, and nope, wasn't me, because all my stuff's turned off usually. And everything always wants
I have
to
that sound disabled.
So I turn off like alerts in the different rooms because I'm pretty active. Like I'll go through my discords because I only follow a couple and go and check through stuff. But I turn them off, but then they always automatically turn back on somehow. And then I'll be watching, and they're like popping up at the top. I won't get the alert, but they'll like all pop up. And then even like with my tablet and phone and stuff, you're trying to connect them, and then they're always everything wants to auto connect, even though I leave everything off all the time. It's like the modern age is really trying to like connect everything so much with their cross-reference advertising and stuff.
Talking of advertising.
Oh yeah, speaking of advertising, wait, let's do this. That's a good time for it. So if you go to elrixhobbies.com, they got 20% off coming on their they have terrain, they got bases, things like that. So definitely go check it out. Save yourself 20%. They're US based. So basically, I mean, shipping, I don't know even know what shipping runs across to the UK right now. These are pretty cool. Like a kind of a tomb world. Oh, not tome. Tome is the books, tomb is the tomb. I like gears. I'm a sucker for gears. And I ordered I ordered these kind of gear ones because I was gonna get some of the there's the Forge Fathers from Mantic, and I was going to get some of their order some of those and use those for the bases. I was like, yeah, I want bases on there, and then I'm like, as little as I'm going to do as far as hobby wise, I'm like, I don't want to base anything, so I'm like, perfect. I'm like, that's answered. I'll buy some little base and then put it on there and done.
I just assembled some of those Forge Fathers, so just mail the bases this way.
Right on. That's funny. Ivan, chill out, buddy. No, we don't need any food right now. Yeah. Gotta talk him down. Live streaming. He stares at me. What are you gonna do? What do you do when a dog looks at you? It's like that look where like they think you're like they treat you like you're abusing them, just with their eyes. Like, oh, it's the saddest thing ever. Yeah, you didn't
Well,
eat. He didn't
you
eat
should
for
always
probably an
have some
hour.
hand to throw at said dog.
Yeah, and he probably is like, you're talking to other people and not me. Why don't you like me anymore?
Oh, dude, don't go down that route. I'm feeling very emotional and vulnerable at the moment.
I know. He's in his Wookiee. Yeah, you're in your Wookiee costume. You still dealing with Han, losing Han.
This walking carpet.
And in that he just fell down, and then they didn't show you, but the plane flew and grabbed him, and he's still fine because he was all cauterized. You don't really need that part of your body anyway. So Han's fine.
I think next one of these because it'll probably be colder soon. Like I think it's doing a little bit of tiny snow today. I need to go find my big onesie that's like a big Christmas present.
Yes, onesie Wednesdays. That's what we call it.
So it's okay. You got snow over there. Lee said it was pretty cold there. Like here, I guess it's cold enough.
Like small snow, as in like it's sprinkling, snow,
Yeah.
but not really going to stick or do anything. We usually have a lot of snow at this point in time.
Okay,
Like
so
I've
I
been
was
here for 2
wondering,
years
do
now. Yeah.
you actually have a lot generally around this time, you would say?
Yeah, actually.
Okay. All right, so then
Hmm,
you get probably a little more snow than we do, or a little earlier at least.
maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, we're higher up, so
Yeah,
that
higher up.
tracks.
And Echo says,
Colorado's tall.
I still need to paint my Battle of how do you, McCrag? Is it McCrag
Crag, like the
or
blue.
McCrag terrain?
Interestingly enough, at one of the Horus Heresy weekenders with Alan Bly, who was like the foremost, writer of the heresy, he called McCraig.
There's no I
Oh,
in there.
Yeah. So, or
yeah,
McCraig, something like that. But it was like, when I heard him say it as Craig, it went, what?
McCrage, McCrage.
Yeah.
McCrogue. Robu Gulliman and
Silent,
McCrogue
silent
Blue.
eye and invisible eye.
I Armies on Parade 2 years ago, back before everything. There was someone who just kept talking to me, and I wasn't really into 40K at the time, but they just kept talking to me about it. And they just kept talking at me about how Robu Gulliman is probably a little bit colorblind, because I think they pulled up some statistics about um French men with blonde hair who have like, or are statistically more likely to be like red blue colorblind or something, and that's why ultramarines are cobalt instead of ultramarine. And I'm just like, I don't care, but this is hilarious.
Yeah, someone's trying to dig real deep. Like we're gonna try to
I'm just
figure out
like,
why
all
ultramarines
right,
aren't ultramarine blue.
I'm here with a grot display.
But there's like one of the things like with the naming of the Primarch. So back in, obviously they got names and inspiration. So like obviously Lionel Johnson is Lionel Johnson, who was a poet who wrote Dark Angel as one of his poems.
Ah,
But from what I heard was that Rabute Goodman was apparently a hairdresser in Nottingham. That
Okay, yeah. Yeah, someone
although
said that. Was it Ben who said that same thing? I think it was like, yeah.
I
I
probably
th-
told him as well, but
yeah,
or either. It's like the people we talk to are the same people.
yeah.
But there was also an actor called Roberto Goodman who played Benson in the TV show of the same name. So it's like, could he have been him? But like, obviously the others like Lehman Russ, Corvus Corax, which was like, oh yeah, what's the Latin name for raven?
bird.
Bird. And, but,
Yeah.
and they had a show like Lionel Johnson, who was like, it meant something in Calabanese or something, but he just comes out Lion L. Johnson or Lehman of the Russ. And because the Rus or the Rus, which are like Ukrainian Vikings, for those who haven't watched Vikings,
I didn't
there
know
were,
that. Yeah, I did not know that one. That's interesting.
yeah. Well, that's the
Okay,
thing.
makes
It's like
sense. Because they kind of,
the
yeah,
thing
that's, I
is,
mean,
it's like
obviously that's the theme that they're going for.
yeah, the Vikings, obviously, or the Norse or the Danes, like whichever one you say, because you had like the Norse, the Danes, and all that. They're all
Yeah.
what Viking was to go out on a like a merry
Yeah, like a raid or
murder
whatever.
spree, to go Viking basically. But you had the Vikings, or the Northmen who settled in southern Russia, who become the basically Ukrainians, are the Rus sort of thing, or the Rus. The other ones, more famously, are the Normans, who are the Danes that settled in France after they captured like Paris,
Yeah.
and they sought peace. They was given land, and then like a couple of hundred years later, their descendants who have bred in with the French became the Normans, and then they invaded England and conquered England. So they did what the Vikings couldn't do, but they basically evolved. They adapted, they evolved, and then they went into and took over. So, you know, the aristocracy that is in charge of England, because obviously you've got like the royal family, aristocracy, and all that sort of stuff. All those nobles and lords and all that, they're all descended from French Vikings.
See, more education on the stream. Did
Yeah.
Okay, so wait, what was I gonna? A couple things I wanted to ask. First of all, is it um Clayton? You never have you ever like really streamed or done any cam stuff like this or anything before?
I tried doing it with painting a little bit, and I also tried like recording it. Actually, this time 2 or 3 years ago, it's why I was so. It took me a little bit to get in here because it was so funny because before I moved, I knew exactly where two webcams were, and now that I've moved, I have no idea where one is. Um, yeah, it's. I've listened to Duncan talk a lot about painting, and the hardest thing about like painting and doing videos and stuff like that and streaming is making sure you can paint with your hands in the camera, and it's so much to do. It's
Yeah, because it's
so
almost like you
much
got to
time.
be in that you're displaying your hands while you paint. So that would
You've
be
got
a
to be like
whole. Yeah,
this, and you
yeah,
have to have the camera going down and the light, and also
yeah,
you have to also be able to see it.
yeah.
Yeah,
There's a whole.
it's a whole skill set.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
Lee, you
I
did
had that.
yours. You did some like back before, right? And then like you started streaming with me, and then you were doing your Saturday, but you did a little bit of streaming before, haven't you?
No, my first stream was with you.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
you just said, "Hey, dude, you're really cool. Do you want to do this again?" I went,
Do this
"Yes, sir."
every week
the
for the rest of
the
your
the
life.
solid foundation of Artist Empire. Hey, dude. I saw
Yeah,
you tweet
honestly.
me. I saw a painting of yours. Want to start a show? So
Yeah,
it works out.
yeah. I had fun. Do you want to do this again? Do you
Yeah,
want to go on
yeah.
a date?
Now look at us.
um, but yeah, I didn't do my live streams until I don't think I started them until about April time. So we was already doing this
Okay.
for about 2 months. Um,
Yeah, and you were doing yours. Yours were like 3 or 4 hours. I finally did the other one day. I did like a 5 hour stream. And I'm like, whoo, man,
Tired, yeah.
that was my first
dude,
one. Was 5.5 hours, and I didn't even realize it was like 2 a.m. And I thought I
Oh.
really should go to bed. I've got work in the morning.
I
Um,
I looked up some of those like the hardcore, like really popular, like they'll obviously be rich because they're tops of YouTube, so whatever. But the one guy who did gaming, they talked about his thing either like last year or whatever it was. And on average, just averaging out his hours, he streamed. So this is 365 days a year, streamed 12 to 14 hours a day.
Jesus.
So think, and I'm
Jesus.
like, dude, think about if playing a video game, right? So granted, he's probably pausing or whatever, but he was gaming that hard to average that much time streaming a day playing a video game. I'm like, dude, you
I
deserve. I don't even care if it's useless. You deserve $1 million just for being
yeah,
able to do
yeah,
that, dude.
honestly. I that's one thing I did a little bit. I just whenever I was working on like painting or streaming or commissions or whatever, I would just turn on the camera and like to my one or two viewers,
Yeah,
and I would just do it for so many hours because one, it tells me, hey, how long have I actually been working on this project, which is a really nice thing to know, but sometimes I don't want to know that.
Mm.
Uh, like I streamed the call that I did for an AdMech Army last year on camera, like almost the entire thing, and it was like two and a
yeah,
half hours. I was like, that that's not long. Okay, cool, whatever.
yeah,
But like on a day where I paint a ton or like a really good amount, what I would consider a good day of painting, I will paint for around 6 or 7 hours. I cannot imagine painting for I kind of can, but I can't imagine having enough stuff to paint for 12 hours almost straight because
yeah.
oils have to dry. Like oils dry relatively fast, but like even with my hot fan, I'm not going to risk it
Dude, and
because
the thing is, like, when I think about it, I'm like, okay, yeah, even if you do it a day, like, yeah, I could do it a day. It's like, do it 7 days in a row and then
do it
do it for a
7.
month, dude. You'd be like, holy cow.
This sounds like a good challenge. I have enough on my plate. Maybe I'll
Yeah.
get
Do
shit
it
together. Oh my
if you could
god.
if you could try to paint for 12 hours in one day, that would be
12
a
hours
trip.
in one day.
I actually had
Yeah, and
on my
theoretically you
first.
could take a break. Oh, go, Lee. What were you gonna say?
I would say on my first live stream I did. I only had the one camera. It was in April because it's when the War Master came out,
Mhm.
and I was doing a build along sort of with War Master. So it was basically me in this room, one camera like this, and I'm like picking out the sprues and doing this sort of thing. And I had, I've had, I think one or maybe two dislikes to my videos. This was my first video, and
Wonderful.
he was basically saying, "Oh, he says says the title was misleading because you don't get to
Oh,
see the video and all that sort of stuff." And I'm
Oh.
like, going like every now and again, I'm doing this. I'll look at the sprue, I'm like that.
yeah.
Obviously, he's done that, and so I thought I could get angry. I could be like, "Oh, dude, this is my first one." So I just said, "Thank you for your sort of constructive criticism."
Yeah. No, for real.
Yeah, that's
I'll
Because
awesome.
do better in the
that's what
future.
it's hard because probably be like, hey, this, but then it's like, at the end of the day, that is the type of thing that helps because you're like, oh yeah, I do, and like I notice it, even with my streams, I'm always thinking, yeah, I should be doing this to improve it, and what I kind of want to do, and the YouTube thing, I think it's good because, like for me, yeah, you're trying to have a business. So I think later down the line, it's great. Like for this, it like when I have you guys on, it really gets me more plugged into the part of the community I might not be involved in. I get to hear about how the games play out, people who paint every day, the products they use, stuff
Yeah.
like that. So it's like that's really cool for me and as far as like content. And I always feel weird, and I got to practice some myself because it's like the thing of like talking to yourself or whatever. You know what I mean? If I'm just doing paintovers by myself, granted,
Mhm.
I'm basically talking to the people who are in chat, but a lot of times, like, yeah, what do fill the dead air? So I guess I'll get some experience with that just to keep practicing a little bit more.
Well, that's another thing. Just tell stories. Like, you've
True.
probably got a bunch of good stories
Yeah.
and just yeah. I honestly, like, I don't do too much on the, like, video side of things, even though I really
Hmm.
should. But and like Twitter is not a very good place to get criticism because like you post something,
Yeah.
people are like, oh, it looks great, it looks awesome, etc. Thankfully, I live with a very good critic, and
Yeah.
she tells me everything I paint is too damn dark. It's too fucking dark. Go brighter. Oh my god, why is it so fucking dark?
She probably has a
And I'm
point, and
like, because it's grim dark, but still,
but
I
that
agree.
I do the same thing. I bet you I do the same thing, and and I'm always trying to go lighter. I'm like, okay, keep it bright. It's funny because I do the same thing.
This Angron is so amazingly bright. I mean, sure, he's mostly fucking brass, but like he's coming off bright, he's crisp, and I'm excited to get out a toothbrush and do some blood on his axe soon.
Likes or dislikes, same thing, really. YouTube algorithm picks on interaction. Don't matter if it's thumbs up or thumbs down. Pretty
To
true. And
his credit,
but
he's
what's
removed
funny,
dislike.
what gets me a lot of dislikes? My the those little short animated videos on YouTube that I do that like it'll be like the fully done paint
What?
over with the effects. Those will get me a lot of dislikes. I get probably my most
That's
likes, but
so
then also
weird.
my most dislikes on them. So sometimes I was getting like you get like 20 likes or 30 likes and then like 8 dislikes. And so I was like,
I
okay,
don't get it.
I'm like, which I'm fine with. I'm like, okay, hey, that just like whatever. You got to show a bunch of people, and I'm like, it's not people's cup of tea, so they don't want to see it on their feed, which I get. But I was just kind of surprised. But it was funny in that, like to me, it was like my version of polarizing content because it got a lot of likes, but it was also getting a lot of dislikes.
Yeah, say I was just checking it, and the dislikes are gone.
Woo.
But the comment is still there, and it was just
Oh.
like, he says War Master build along, but it's just him sitting there and talking. You don't get to see the model. Um, so as I say, I took that as valid
Hey,
criticism,
yeah,
constructive or not, and basically until I could get a new camera. So we've got a two camera setup now and the
yeah.
OBS.
I
I
still
need to do
can't.
that.
I don't know how many of these I've done now, like over 50, 60, and I'm like, I feel embarrassed to say how much I've listened back. I've probably listened back to maybe like 20 minutes worth. I'm like, I don't want to come to grips with my personality yet. I'm like, I'm probably
For
like I'm
me,
like, I gotta be a spaz. I probably don't like the tone of my voice. I'm like, just don't listen to it yet till you do it a lot, and then like everyone already knows then that you're a spaz, so you can confront it. So that's what I'm still waiting on.
my thing is I feel a lot of people have this that it's very hard to listen to your own voice. So when I
Hmm.
was like narrating for like some paintover videos I was going to do, or like painting tutorials I did and never edited because editing videos is effort. Uh like listening to my
Yeah.
voice, I'm just like, this is grating. This is like chalkboard nails. How does anyone else do this?
Why would they do this?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
you
yeah.
do it to yourself. And that's why, like video, I'm like, okay, I'm like, eventually I'll put my face on cam. Not that it's any big deal, but I'm like, I should. What I want to do, I would be one of those. What are the
So
ones?
mysterious.
What are the ones with they do the animated thing? I'm like, dude, that would be perfect for me if I had more time to put into making a little animated figure of me talking. So I'm like,
Oh,
then
a
I,
VTuber.
yeah, yeah, whatever, a VTuber or whatever. But like,
Yeah, a VTuber. Oh, dude, that'd be dope.
because
AE as
then
a
I
VTuber
could
would be great.
I could draw my face different ways for different themes. You know what I mean? Like if it's a sci-fi show, put all the armor on, or if it's like fantasy's the big topic, make the little animatronic thing a fantasy character. And I was thinking about that, but
Oh,
I think it's still like a pain to kind of connect and get going. You know what I mean? Because like, dude, I would so crack up.
God, I have some friends who are VTubers, and like it's easy enough for people that I know who aren't extremely tech savvy, and like
Yeah,
you already do a lot of stuff with streaming. So all you need to
yeah,
do is get someone, like commission someone to rig up a model, and I think an enforcer is the fucking easiest best idea.
yeah. So I will look into that because just because I was like, dude, I could make it work that way. You know, just because of the fact of it drawing it and then having it done and all that. So. I was definitely going to check into that. Who's Lee? So you're trying to do your show this weekend?
Yeah, that's the plan.
All right.
It's whether or not the internet is going to play ball.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, there was a few people have like messaged me like on last Saturday when we was doing our stream.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Dave Richardson, who turned up, he was messaging me. Said, "Are you streaming tonight?" And I said, well, "I am, but I'm with Artist Empire." So
Yeah.
that's why he came on and joined in,
Okay.
listened in, and that. But yeah, a few people. I think. Yeah, I basically just sit there, paint, model, whatever, and we just do what we do
Yeah.
here.
Well,
Pretty.
then it's cool to see. I've stopped by to watch yours and I think it's with all those it's like good ideas and you got all kinds of knowledge of the game and people ask you questions and all that. So that should be a
Yeah,
fun one.
it's just it's weird because like I'm just sitting here painting what I would normally be painting on a Saturday night, perhaps.
Yeah.
Um, but then you've got company, and
Yep.
I think it's like, especially like after that first one, which was 5.5 hours of me rambling
So
along,
long.
you know. But without them, the viewers out there, joining in and like throwing comments and stuff my
Yeah, it
way.
gives you something to build off of, you
Mhm.
know.
Yeah, exactly. And with like with our sort of streams as well, it's the same sort of thing, just without paintovers.
And so I don't know if some people don't know you. You are the Forge of Mars on Twitter, and your what is your Insta? Is it the Forge of Mars as well?
Yeah, I changed it all to be the Forge of Mars, so you know
Okay,
who.
We know
and then
who it is.
Pretzel Paint. Where your Pretzel Paint on Twitter, Clayton?
Yeah, and I don't think I think Twitter shortens how things go. On
Yeah.
Instagram it should be Pretzel Paint Studios, I think.
Okay, Pretzel Paint
Yeah,
Studios, and
Pretzel
I'm
then
Paint Studios.
going to do some streaming after
yeah,
we're done.
Mechanical Frog is probably going to stream after this one. Actually, in a little bit, I'll end up stopping by over on that stream. I'll check out what you're doing because after this, I'm going to take the dog for a bit of a walk before it gets dark here. Get outside, get my little exercise. I'm going to VR later. I got to figure out. I can. I think I could do my VR Quest and then I can stream it somehow. Like I haven't hooked anything up or done it yet, but I want to do some 3D painting, sculpting kind of thing and stream it to YouTube. So eventually I'm going to play with that to get it up because I still haven't done much with the making the 3D paintings, but I've enjoyed it a little bit in the I'm fascinated with the concept of you kind of start it and you're basically sculpt something that's only like a foot wide, but then you just scale it and it instantly gets really huge. So you make this little thing like I'd make a tree and it'd only be like 8 inches tall, but then you scale it right away and then you got a 40-foot tree above you that's all lit up. And it's just like it's fascinating to me. And I do use it some. I've been using the VR, but it's only been for like the golf game. I'll play it like twice. I'm like, okay, that's my exercise. A lot of times at night, I'll be like, all right, let me golf. Like I could probably do 18 holes in even like 20, 25 minutes, but you're up and standing, swinging the fake golf club and all that stuff. So I've only been doing that and not much of the drawing. So I'm going to try to get doing some of that. And that's it. Neither of you really have anything to plug. We did the the
I paint.
Facebooks and I mean the
We're
yeah.
not in the same league as you, Scott. You know,
No,
I paint
you're an
things for
intellectual.
money.
yeah, you do commissions, don't you?
If anyone needs things painted for money,
Yeah.
I have more than enough examples of things. I painted
Uh,
106 gray knights in 9 days.
yeah, he okay, yeah, that's one thing. He will get it done. He's stuff doesn't sit around on his table, so I'll vouch for that. And then oh
I
wait, here's one of yours. This is one of yours with Charity's Base. Here you go. So this is one of
yeah,
his.
I did this.
This is one of my favorites of yours. This
It
thing is
I
awesome.
everything I've been cranking out lately has been that has been like for someone else has been one of my favorite things because it was like Bellacore and then that and now
That,
this
yeah, I
Angron
love
and I'm just
the
like mm.
like this stuff, how you got the orange yellow on the underneath, you lit it there, and it's like that nice subtle, it's not overly bright, it's just like to me, it's just like perfect. You got so the same thing, you lit all this brilliantly, like everything about
Cherry
it
did the
was,
bottom of the things, but that part in the
yeah,
skin tone I did. Yeah,
yeah, and
it's
the wings, I love your color choices on
oh
this
the wings
thing.
are
It
so
was
good.
just, yeah, I think it's awesome. And then, so wait, I don't even plug my stuff. Go join my Patreon, people, dude. What's up, man? I did all this and like I'm
They're
towards the
here.
end.
They know
I
you.
know. Go join my stuff. When I make something, you guys have to buy it too. Thank you.
Yes, that's true.
Please,
Listen,
please.
I'll buy an AE hoodie.
Yeah, you rock, dude. You've been my longest patron supporter. So now that's why I have to like that's my big thing for this next year too is like I gotta get some good value going on my Patreon because I'm like I get all now I've interacted with people. I'm like, oh my gosh, what if like King Crimson doesn't like my stuff or what if Pretzel Painter leaves or Lee gets over? I'm like, what am I gonna do?
Well, I mean, here's the funniest thing. I moved next to a golf course, and one of my first thoughts was like, "Huh, AE would come play golf here."
Oh God, yeah, I would. Yeah, I gotta see. I've
I
never
walk it.
been.
It's nice.
Yeah, good. Get some outdoor. Yeah, winter time is a coming. So, and well, thanks for joining us, everybody. I really appreciate it. Pretzel, it was great of you to stop by. Lee, great to see you as usual. We had a Wookiee, so that was awesome.
Different.
And then if people are still looking after this, go join Mechanical Frog. He's going to be streaming soon. Check out what he's got going on. If anything, they're sure he'll have a whole pile of 3D printed stuff you could look at. No, no, he's got a lot of work ahead of him. And then I don't know, Lee, we're on for next week as far as you know.
Yeah, yeah, on every week,
All right, good.
unless something
Yeah.
tragic happens. I don't know.
Or good.
Uh,
Or let's go with good. Unless something
asteroid
amazing.
strike.
You might win the lotto or something on Tuesday and be like, I'm going to be a little busy Wednesday because I just won the lotto.
Dude,
So,
if I won the lotto, it probably would help if I actually participated in the lotto. But if I won the lotto, I would come over to your house and we'd do this together.
yes, we would. Do trust me.
Yeah.
I'm the one person because like I have no regard for money. So I'm like, if someone wins the lotto, I'm like you. I'm like I would probably support this whole community with just with commissions. I'd be like, I think I get to
Yeah.
have all this. I saw these miniatures I stare at all the time. I laugh because half these people, just this one person, Chris Burwood. on Twitter. Oh gosh, he probably some of my all-time favorite orcs that ever. They had the blue visors. If you remember the ones, they had the blue visors with the ground effect, and I'll have to retweet it later. But like I thought he was a professional. Like I just thought I looked at it like I followed him for a while, and I literally thought like that's all the person did was commission painting. And then someone tweeted him today, and he's like, "No, I don't even do commissions." I'm like, "Oh my God!" There's just like these super talented people. I thought this person made their living painting these because they were so good, and it's just like their little hobby they do after work. I'm like, man, there's a lot of people doing cool stuff out there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's not a good thing. Don't do commissions, kids. Don't.
again, thanks for everyone for joining us, and I am going to hit some end buttons. We'll wait till all this stuff shuts down.